This is one of the numerous training sessions for new leaders. The program has been operating in Charlotte for 5 years, producing positive results toward 2 major goals: recruiting and retaining motivated educational professionals focused on making a difference in student achievement, and also achieving measurable outcomes in academic achievement. New Leaders has trained more than 145 teachers, facilitators, assistant principals, and principals, impacting nearly 20,000 students across Charlotte. And the program reports that 85% of its new leader-led schools have met or exceeded student growth expectations set by the state of North Carolina during the 2012-2013 school year. Charlotte-Mecklenburg's data shows that 54% of its students live in poverty, and that figure is more than twice the national average. Data shows that students in high poverty schools achieve at much lower levels than counterparts in more affluent schools. But the core of the New Leaders philosophy is that every student can experience higher achievement when provided with the proper classroom environment, motivated and dedicated teachers who work with supportive principals and other school administrators and staff. New Leaders has a 3-tiered approach to improve those student achievement levels. 1. ELP, or its Emerging Leaders Program, that is designed to train teachers how to coach and lead teams of teachers to use data to drive instruction and shift adult practices that convert failures to successes. 2. APP, or Aspiring Principals Program, that trains tomorrow's principals to turn around underperforming schools and the lives of students who attend them. 3. The PI, or Principal Institute, provides new principals with support in their first years in their new role. The foundation of the New Leaders approach is grounded in the infectious passion demonstrated by its recruits. Their backgrounds, experiences, and interests may be varied and diverse in many ways, but their combined single focus is simple, direct, and clearly on target, aimed at improving student achievement. They tell their own stories.
Conversation with the teachers, how are you going to observe those practices? Those are things that they kind of have learned through this process and hopefully will be worked out. And if you don't have that environment, it makes it challenging for you to do the work.
We all were interviewed through Project Lift. So none of our principals interviewed us. It's just kind of like the APP pool. You had to get into a pool before you could be. I was at Ashley Park for 2 years before I moved into this role. Our middle school MCL was not at Ashley Park. He was at Brun. So you can get a...
Thinking about this as being an easier way that what they do is very challenging, and I admire what they do. But don't go into opportunity culture because it's less of a challenge. Because think about it, it may not be your school and another school, but if you start in a school and you're making 20, 30, or 50% more than people on your staff, and you're supposed to be the master person who's going to solve everybody's problem, that's a big assignment. And if you're supposed to change the instructional practice of 6 people around you, build a relationship, make them believe in you, make the kids believe in you, everything, that's a big assignment. So doing it in your school can be really hard because there are other people who are going to talk. And then doing it in another school can be really hard. So you got to look into that. But it's not an easy assignment.
I come from a family of teachers. And my mother's a teacher, my grandmother's a teacher, my 2 sisters are teachers. Education is where I belong. So when I became a technology facilitator in Asheville City Schools, it was my first taste of working with administration, and I was good at it. I had no idea I'd be good at it. I was doing it to help show teachers that you can integrate technology into your classroom seamlessly. They thought they were afraid of it. It was a huge shift in education at the time, and if they had one failure, they'd quit. And so I left the classroom to support teachers to give kids the opportunity, especially where I've always taught has been heavy minority. And I knew that if we didn't give the students a chance, that it was our fault, not theirs. So that's when I left the classroom, and I was surprisingly good at it. and I was effective, and I could build a relationship with the teachers, and I could still work with the kids. So as I became a facilitator, I, worked a lot with administration, and I shortly knew that that's what I wanted to do, school administration. But it wasn't really until I came to the Project Lift Zone that there was a managed, effective opportunity called Emerging Leaders. And I remember seeing the resident principal, who was Shana Oliver at the time, at Allenbrook Elementary School, and I thought, what is happening? You mean she's not really a principal, but she's a resident principal, and she's learning how to be a principal, and she's got the support from the principal, and she's taking these classes? I want in. That's what I want to do. I had been instructional technology facilitator at KIPP Academy Charlotte. I've been a grade level chair. I became the one laptop per child facilitator, which was just another step kind of closer towards administration, and I wanted in on Emerging Leaders. So that's why I wanted the opportunity, and I was ready because I know that it takes a special person and special skills to be a principal, and you have so much you're responsible for. I was ready for a program where I could do it, find out that it's not for me, but it was okay, and I could step right back into the role that I was in with a whole new set of knowledge, and that was just really refreshing. My history is middle school. So I didn't want to be a teacher. My mom struggles, 4 of us. She was a single parent. She barely made enough money to get what we needed. I thought we were just as poor. She said we were middle class. This is middle class. Shoot. I wanted to get into computers to get away from all that. I wanted to make some money. I don't want to struggle. But no matter how hard I tried, my abilities always guided me towards teaching. So I remember at University of North Carolina at Asheville, UNCA, I was a computer science major, but I was always at the education building. There was a teaching fellow program, but they called me to go to a conference, not the teaching fellows. So when I finally decided to embrace it is when I really made an impact. And that impact, you just can't deny. And middle schoolers are tough, but it's such a great age because they're finding out they're artists, they're finding out they're mathematicians, they're finding out all of this information about themselves, and you're there to help guide them through it. And I just can't imagine doing anything else. So I think that's a lot of people in different areas find out what they're good at, and I found mine. And I can be successful in it, and I can help others be successful, so it's a good thing.
Being in the classroom, I've really enjoyed it, but I knew that there's always something more that I wanted to do. And when I first heard about the Emerging Leaders program, I knew that it was a great opportunity to extend my reach in terms of the amount of people I was able to impact, and possibly give me an opportunity to get into a leadership role in the schools. So when I first heard about it, I knew a few other teachers who had done the program, and they had spoken about just what Emerging Leaders was about as a program, and I knew that that was something that I definitely wanted to do, and it hasn't disappointed. It's really prepared me for future roles and future endeavors in education beyond just being in the classroom. I think that the passion that they put into education is the same passion that I've had for a long time, so finding an organization that shared that passion for making an impact and making a change in the education system is really exciting. So just finding like-minded people who shared the same vision was extremely exciting, and it helps move me forward in my vision. One of the main purposes of Emerging Leaders is to teach educators how to use data-driven instruction, which means using assessments wisely to get a glimpse into who a kid is, and then to use that to help each kid with anything that they're missing in terms of their educational experience. So in other words, working with second graders this year is who I'm working with, a team of second grade teachers, being able to identify why this specific child is having a difficult time performing. It's teaching us how to look at assessments and really pinpoint what we need to teach that kid so that they can be successful. Rather than just saying, oh, that kid's behind. It's saying, yes, that kid's behind, and how are we going to help them to move to where they should be? So it's really helping to do that and to help other teachers do that process as well.
I was actually working in a shelter for abused women and children in Greenville, South Carolina, and I've always had a strong love for children, and I just kind of realized that my passion was for children, specifically in poverty, and so I started looking into some teaching paths through a master's degree, and I was like, if I get accepted, I'll go and do it. And once I got into the master's program, I loved everything that I was learning, and I was just super excited about the work, and so that's how I kind of transitioned into that role. Well, I was in ELP last year as a fourth-year teacher, and that was something that I wanted to do for leadership, and I was lucky that my principal nominated me for it. And so when I looked into the program, I realized it was going to give me some really good free training that is amazing for education, and that helped me in my new role, which is a multi-classroom leader 2, which is within opportunity culture, which just means I work with about 200 kids and 6 teachers at my school. And so ELP gave me the training for coaching teachers, for analyzing data, and just it's professional development twice a month, and then sometimes more with webinars and everything. So just gives you a leadership opportunity without having to go and get another degree. First of all, I'm extremely passionate about children in high poverty areas, and especially about their education, but also through ELP and New Leaders, the leaders of this organization have the exact same passion that I do, and that's the urgency behind closing the achievement gap for our children in these high poverty areas. I teach kindergarten, first and second, and so our kids come to us sometimes on a 3-year-old's level because they're 2 years behind. There's a 30 million word gap between children in affluent schools and schools in the inner city and high poverty areas, which means they have 30 million more words at 4 years old than my students do. So it is a daunting task, but it's also a phenomenal task. And we have a high sense of urgency, we have high standards, and we work like crazy around the clock to catch our kids up. We have brilliant, brilliant kids in our school. They just have not, their potential's maybe not been tapped yet until they get to us. And so it's exciting work. So daunting, I don't know if it's scary sometimes because the picture is so big and broad, and you want to reach every single child, which we do. But it's also really, really exciting and great work. I love it. They're not in high school or college or anything yet, but I still have my very first class of children. They were kindergartners, are now 4th graders, and they text me, and I'll get a text that's, Miss Cubbage, it's Karen. How are you? We miss you. Come back to the school. And I go and visit them and that kind of thing. And like just getting a text from a child that's now 4th grader, they were so tiny and these little people, and now they're big, just mature kids. I talk to a lot of my old kids on the phone, so they call me and we'll chat. I still go and see them. I do things with them. And then even today, she was my 1st grader last year, so she's in 2nd now, but I'm still in the same school. She came sprinting up to me and was like, Miss Cubbage, I grew from a letter K to an L, which is a lot of growth in reading. No, I'm sorry, K to an M. Hello. So just that kind of interaction is super exciting. So I'm still in the school with her, and she knows I'm going to be so pumped about reading growth. And so I get kids here and there that just make it really worthwhile.
I sense from you and from those with whom I've done interviews prior to you, and just observing inside there's an extreme passion. And that's the one thing a lot of people just have not discovered yet, and that is their passion, which kind of makes their work not seem like work. Does this ever seem like work to you?
Only when that alarm clock goes off at 6 a.m. and it's pitch black on daylight savings day, I'm like, ooh, I would love to stay in my bed. But no, I mean, some of my friends are like, we think you might be a workaholic, but I don't see it as that. It's fun. My job is so fun right now. I get to work with so many different kids, and today I taught a phonics lesson, and I taught a math lesson to 1st grade, and I went and observed a 5th grade teacher. So I just get to work with so many different kids, and when I walk down the hallway of a school with 700 kids, I'm saying hey to 25 in 1 minute. So my passion is children. My passion is children in high poverty areas, and that's exactly where I am right now. So I love the work that I'm doing, and it's a tough job, it's a challenging job, but the challenges are things that our kids face. I can handle things for my kids, but it's hard knowing I can't control things outside of work for them. But no, I don't look at it as like, oh, that's my job, I gotta go to 8 to 5, you know. It's fun to me, I love it. I never dread going to work. How do I help or work with people that don't have the same amount of passion? So from knowing me a few minutes, you said that you could kind of tell that I was passionate. So the way that I work with some people is kind of just wearing my passion on my sleeves all the time. And every conversation I have about kids, when there are times when there are some negative conversations around kids, and I'm going to be honest, and especially in high poverty areas where kids have really challenging behaviors, I just always try to bring it back to their education, what we're doing for them, how we are the people that are going to get them out of this vicious cycle of poverty. And sometimes I've got teachers in tears that are like, I don't know if I can do it. And I'm like, you can do it, and this is why. And I try to coach them and motivate them through the passion that I have for the work and for the kids. So sometimes it is impactful, and sometimes they might just listen and not agree with me, but that's okay, because I want them to hear what I have to say.
I think those individuals within the Charlotte-Mecklenburg school system have had an opportunity to really get to know the work that New Leaders does will really appreciate the fact that there's an undying support around ensuring that underprivileged children have the opportunity that many children have across the country in terms of being college ready, understanding what it is to be a successful, competitive individual in this society that we call America. So, you know, the thing that I really want to continue to push is to understand New Leaders, understand the work, understand the drive, understand the people, and understand what our mission is. I truly believe that the individuals that have taken the opportunity to do so truly become the fans that we need to continue and support this work moving forward.